Hello and welcome to this programme brought to you by The Manufacturer. This is our digital day to kick off Manufacturing and Engineering Week. Here we'll be previewing some of the amazing show content that you can expect to see in Birmingham this week. We'll also be looking back through some of the companies that we've visited, the challenges and problems that plague them, and the solutions that they've found to mitigate these issues in some truly world-class examples of UK manufacturing. But first, an address from our partners and sponsors of M&E Week, Make UK, the national manufacturing organisation. Stephen Phipson will be in Birmingham this week. Here he is giving an address ahead of the show, detailing the importance of the manufacturing sector, the further strides that should and can be taken with help from government, and his hopes for this year's event.
Well, manufacturing is vital to the UK. It's always been a very significant part of the economy. It represents about 10% of GDP if you just take the manufacturing output, probably much greater than that if you think about all the secondary effects of manufacturing in the economy in the local communities, probably totaling more like 20-25% of GDP in this country. Employs 2.5 million people in very highly paid jobs, about 30% higher than the average wage in the UK. And of course, we're now focused on advanced manufacturing. We are the ninth largest manufacturing country in the world focused on that advanced manufacturing segment. There are some obviously common misconceptions when it comes to UK manufacturing. We did a survey around 18 months ago of the public opinion of manufacturing, and many people still believe it's Dickensian Victorian factories with smokestacks and people doing piecework on benches, when in reality it's not like that at all. It's a very modern, high-tech environment full of digital technology and full of some of the latest products that we see in everyday life. Not the consumer products, but the advanced products. We're world leader at commercial aviation wings, for example, medical devices, automotive. We have some of the most productive and modern plants in the world. So we should be proud of that heritage, but really that's a very different view to the one that the public has largely seen of manufacturing, and our job is to promote it and to really show just how advanced and sophisticated this sector is. So as one of the large business representative organisations in the country, we regularly sit with cabinet ministers and secretaries of state, and we discuss policy issues around the manufacturing sector, things that we see as vital for the growth and stability of our sector into the future. Obviously skills is up there. We're discussing at the moment the need for those vocational skills in our sector and some of the new skills we need for the decarbonisation objectives we have for the sector, as well as things like energy prices and support for industry more generally. But I think overall what we're really calling for from government at the moment, and you may have seen some of that press over the last couple of weeks, is a really good new comprehensive industrial strategy for our country which pulls together all the strands of policy that government has and applies it to the major challenges we have for the future, where manufacturing is going to be the answer to many of those challenges, particularly around the green agenda, decarbonisation and sustainability going forwards. So one of the challenges is attracting youngsters into our industry, because as I said before, many of the public perceptions are around the old Victorian factory scenario, which in fact is not the case anymore. So we are really keen on engagement with schools to make sure those youngsters understand the high-tech nature of our activity and also the digital nature. It's increasingly digital adoption is a key part of manufacturing in this country. Coding, data analytics, these kinds of skills are absolutely vital, and we need a constant flow of youngsters into our sector to make sure we can sustain it into the future. Where we sit at the moment, the average age in manufacturing is around 52 years old. We know 20% of the workforce will retire in the next 5 years or so. So absolutely vital that we compete with all those other new sectors and show just how high-tech manufacturing in this country is. I think that's a task and a challenge to every single manufacturer that we come across, promote this in your local community, open your doors, show those youngsters just how exciting manufacturing is in the UK. The one thing that we are extremely good at in this country is innovation. We are by far the world leader when it comes to innovation for new technologies that we can get into manufacturing. Our challenge has always been making those scalable, making those commercially viable, taking really good, strong global commercial advantage of our innovations. The government has done a great job investing many billions of pounds a year in innovation in this country, but we still struggle to scale that up. And I think one thing we can learn from some of the other countries, particularly around in Asia, in that sort of area, is the ability with the right government strategy to scale up that innovation into large commercial organisations. So if there's one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing from a new industrial strategy, is how we scale up a lot of the great innovation that this country creates. So Manufacturing and Engineering Week is a vital part of the landscape of promoting manufacturing and being able to interact with each other in the UK. It's really vital as the national manufacturing organisation that we support these kinds of efforts. We have 23,000 companies that we represent in the sector, and making sure that they're aware of where those latest developments are, how they can exchange ideas with each other, and hear from some really great speakers about the latest innovation in our sector. It's absolutely vital that we give them that opportunity. M&E Week is now one of the premier events of the year where all of those activities can take place. So we are very proud and very committed to supporting M&E Week this week and into the future.
Our thanks to Stephen there, and we look forward to catching up with him further this week. Next up, we're going to give you a taste of what you can expect at this year's M&E Week. Thousands of new products and services from leading brands, insightful, impactful and eye-opening keynotes and summits, and of course plenty of fun along the way, all under one roof this week. As you can imagine, it's all hands to the pump here at the moment, but we have been able to catch a few of the team. The Manufacturing Magazine editor Joe Bush has just caught up with Portfolio Director for M&E Week, Harv Kenneth, and our Marketing Director, Verity Noon.
Hello, welcome one and all. It's Monday, it's the start of Manufacturing and Engineering Week. I'm here with Harv Kenneth, Portfolio Director, and Verity Noon, Head of Marketing for Manufacturing and Engineering Week. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Hello.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited?
I'm a little bit overly excited, so I might pop. So probably 12.
Yeah, I'm definitely a 10.
Like to hear it. Like to hear it. So I guess this is going to be a stupid question now, but are you looking forward to Manufacturing and Engineering Week?
Blood, sweat and tears been put into this event. I mean, just to summarise, it's 2 acquisitions, 4 existing events, a change of date line, a change of venue, a change of hall, new teams coming together. It's literally been a labour of love, but I can honestly say I couldn't be prouder. We've hit budget. The visitor numbers are looking amazing. So yeah, I'm buzzing. I thought I'd lost the bug years ago. I've been doing this for 26 years and it's back.
And for anyone out there who doesn't know, and why wouldn't they know at this stage, what can people expect? What can visitors expect from Manufacturing and Engineering Week?
Well, doors open to the live shows on Wednesday at the NEC at 9:30, and there is so much going on. We've obviously got, and just to say also, it's a carbon neutral event. So we planted trees in a forest in Tanzania. I think it was 8,852 trees to make sure this event is running as a carbon neutral event to offset our emissions. And we've also been planting trees for all the visitors that have registered and the ones that turn up at the show to again help to offset the carbon emissions that they'll be generating from their travel to the venue. So that's just one thing to say because that fits in really nicely with our sustainability
it's a big
journey.
Initiative for us.
And it's World Environment Day today, so it's a nice thing also to
ties in
mention.
nicely,
yeah.
We've also been working quite closely with other event organisers at the NEC that are running shows the same week. So this week we've obviously got Subcon and some other events at the NEC in adjacent halls, and we're working really seamlessly with them. So one visitor pass gets access to all 12 events at the NEC this week. So it's a really, really compelling reason why the visitors should come out of their plant offices and come down to the NEC because there is so much going on.
It is a bit of a first, really. I mean, it's not often that you see competitors coming together that organise trade shows. But I think the recognition at the moment is this sector needs as much support as it can get. So why sit? Why work separately when we can create a one-stop shop? I mean, the NEC is a huge venue. I don't know how many halls we're covering, but 12 events for manufacturing and engineering. It's unrivaled in the UK, and I think it really sets the scene for a great week.
Yeah. I heard recently the sort of manufacturing and engineering being, in terms of its impact to the UK, being described as the backbone in the background.
Yeah.
And I kind of think that's really apt. I think it's a sector that doesn't perhaps get the exposure that it should do. But in terms of content, Harv, plenty of keynotes going on, plenty of seminars, plenty of solution theatres. What's going on content-wise?
So, first of all, I just want to thank our esteemed advisory council. It's made up of 30 of the best in class in the UK. So we really have had some great advice, and together with them, we sort of agreed the 5 key pillars upon which we wanted to build the event, so the foundations of the event. So these are sustainability, we've got digital transformation, supply chain resilience, we've got people and skills, and then innovation. And all of the content has been built around this, as well as the marketing communications. So if we start with the 2 keynote theatres, we have the M&E Week Keynote Theatre, where we will have Nusrat Ghani, Minister at the Department for Business and Trade, will be doing the opening. And then we have Stephen Phipson, who will be talking about State of the Nation, and of course the recent Make UK Industrial Strategy report, which is obviously hot in the press at the moment. And then we also have the Main Tech Keynote Theatre, which is sponsored by RS. So there's some really great content going on there, some really well-respected speakers. And then we move on to the Solutions Theatres, which is where many of our vendors will be presenting. So we've got 6 of those. We've got the IIoT and connectivity. We have digital transformation, which is sponsored by Google Cloud. We have Innovation Theatre, which is sponsored by Siemens. Maintenance, robotics and automation, and then industrial data. So that's kind of the content that we've been running, or we've been putting together. But then we also have support from the Institute for Manufacturing, who will be hosting their master classes on the show floor, as well as Made Smarter Innovate UK, who have the Innovation Village and their innovation stage. So there's a lot going on there. We'll also be covering women in manufacturing across the event, which is obviously very important. So that's kind of the free to attend content. But then, of course, we have the manufacturer events. So we have the highly respected SME Growth Summit, as well as the Manufacturing Digitalization Summit taking place in the adjacent halls. So spaces, I think, are limited. I think one of them might already been sold out, but you can find out more on the manufacturer website. Talking about content a little bit more, we are organising a STEM initiative on the second afternoon, so that'll be between 12 and 4. So we're not trying to make it, to organise it too much, because obviously the reason for them to come is that they can come and see the future, to come and see the innovation, to see what's on show. But we have got some talks from Make UK, who'll be looking at the apprentice opportunities across the UK. We have the MTC talking about opportunities in robotics. Innovate and Made Smarter will be hosting some tours. And of course, there are over 400 exhibitors who will be there. So it's really an exciting opportunities for the 16 plus next generation.
Yeah, fantastic. Lots to see and do.
Yeah.
There's actually, I think, 12 universities signed up at the moment, all sending batches of people. Yeah, so it'll be a really good thing for them to come along and see.
Yeah. So one element that certainly caught my eye, and because we've covered quite a fair bit around it in the magazine in recent months, is the issue around cybersecurity. Manufacturing is now one of the most, if not the most, targeted sector for cybercrime. So it's a growing issue, and one that perhaps not all manufacturers are fully tuned into and aware of. So there's going to be a cyber trail taking place at the show. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I can. The Cyber Trail is featuring some really key solutions and some products, and you can walk around the show floor, and there's a trail around the exhibitions, and they're basically providing solutions to kind of mitigate the threat, prepare yourselves. You said yourself, the manufacturers, some of them are slightly maybe behind in terms of their cyber security and protection, and they, I think, are the most hit sector. They've taken over from some of the other
finance,
financial
overtaken
and
finance, right?
and healthcare, I think. So it's really important they find out what the threats are and how they can prepare and protect themselves.
It's also, I think, a growth opportunity for us at the trade show for the future, because it hasn't always been at the forefront of as Verity says, of some of these organisations. So with the addition of drivers and controls, air tech and fluid and power next year, I think cyber is something that will become potentially one of the new pillars that will come through and flow through the whole of M&E Week across the 6 events.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's going to go hand in hand with the rollout of digital technology.
Exactly.
The more that continues, the more that cyber security is going to be an issue, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Another element that took my eye, and is key to us at the manufacturer, and one of the driving forces behind SME Growth Summit is the SME zone. I'm not sure of the figures, but the vast majority of the UK manufacturing community are made up of SMEs. So so perhaps tell us a bit about that.
A couple of things going on here. We've got a zone where some of the SMEs are going to be focused in one area, and they are the backbone, they're the unsung heroes, I think, of this sector. So to put them in the forefront and give them the kind of spotlight that they deserve, I think, is really important. So there's a zone dedicated for them on the show floor. Don't get me wrong, there's some other SMEs scattered around the exhibition, but we have a dedicated area for them to be housed. And then the Innovation Alley, where some of the startup community, some really exciting, the newest and developing technologies that are coming through and shaping the future, I think, of manufacturing in this country in the next 5 to 10 years. We've got some really exciting bits of tech on that Innovation Alley, so make sure when you get there you take a walk down and have a look at what they've got to offer.
I think this is the view of the next 10 years into the future, really.
Yeah. I think I can certainly echo that, having attended Smart Factory Expo in the past and gone down Innovation Alley. It's those startups that can move so quickly, adapt so quickly, that some of the tech stuff that they're doing is really, really amazing.
Yeah, and they're
to
exceptionally
see.
agile and very driven.
Yeah.
Working with Innovate UK, the Made Smarter team, Innovate UK, KTN, it's been amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're a really focused group of people, and they've brought together, I think, probably the best bunch of SMEs and startups this year that I've seen.
The show is also 3 times bigger than it was last year, so that's reflected in the investment that a lot of organisations have put into the event.
Yeah.
Alongside that is the Innovation Village, and they have an innovation stage, which is another little area where they're going to be doing some presentations and have some really high-profile speakers speaking there. So there is so much going on. You're going to have to come down.
A week doesn't really seem enough, does it?
No.
It doesn't.
Well, it's a 2-day show, 7th and 8th, everyone.
If we haven't mentioned that, 7th and 8th.
7th and 8th of June. But yeah, there's a huge amount going on. And when you say, are you excited? I am excited and exceptionally nervous.
Well, it's there is also some fun stuff going on. It's not all going to be work.
No.
There's some fun stuff going on. And one element that really took my eye was the Guitar Legends. Tell us about that, please.
So I tried to play the guitar once. I had about 12 lessons, and still at the end of those 12 lessons, I was playing, I think it was Stairway to Heaven, and everyone that I just don't know what you're playing, Verity. So I'm not going to be competing in the Guitar Legends competition, but it's a competition running on both days. On the day you can come and drop in and obviously take part. We've got a recording studio booth, and it's sponsored by Nexa 3D, because they've produced 2 3D printed guitars, and that will be the winning prize on each day for the kind of the best.
It is amazing.
The best guitar hero or legend. They'll record a 30-second or minute piece, recording on an amp, and then we're going to judge them. And the Shadow Monkeys, our house headline band, will be judging the winner, and we'll present the winners on each day. And I said, take away a 3D printed guitar, which is exceptional. Very exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Can't wait for that.
Yeah, really good.
We've really thought about how we bring a manufacturing event, an engineering event to life in that sense. So you'll see some great features around the show. I mean, even the manufacturer interview space looks amazing this year.
It does look great. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, it looks amazing, and the operations team here have worked really hard. So instead of having the networking bar, we've got the Top 1000 backstage bar, which celebrates the fact that it's the 10th year of the Top 100, hence the Top 1000. But you'll see that is being built like a backstage bar. We've got some amazing signage. There's some other things I'm not going to tell you about because I just don't want to ruin the surprise. But there are some really cool things that you will see when you get there and that you can interact with. And then on day 1, 4:30 till 6 at the Top 1000 backstage bar, we will have our party. So everyone's invited, exhibitors and visitors, and we'll have the Shadow Monkeys playing there, who are an excellent band that played at the Manufacturing Awards last year at Birmingham, at Liverpool.
Yep.
And then, of course, then at 6 o'clock, we move on to the top 100. So this year's sort of elite, honouring the top 100 in manufacturing this year. So there's some really nice things happening. There'll be stuff happening throughout the day. But yeah, we're quite excited about seeing our festival coming together.
Yeah, festival indeed.
And one more thing to add, I think, there's a new zone this year that we brought into the show. We recently acquired the Drives and Controls event and some other sister events on fluid power systems and airtech. And this year we're bringing in the drives and controls element just in a small zone, just for this year, because it's a biannual event. And then next year, when we come back for 2024, I don't even know why I'm talking about 2024 now, because we haven't even run 2023.
Because it's only happening, it starts the day and week after next.
Yeah.
When we come back next year, we'll obviously have the drives and controls, fluid power and airtech events back in full force, taking a whole other hall next to
so
ours.
this year we're Hall 4, next year we're Hall 4 and Hall 5.
Sure.
And Hall 5 is the largest hall in the UK, so there's no pressure there.
No
not
pressure at all.
But to have the drives and controls element just coming in, starting for this year, I think is a nice new element to bring in.
It is, and it also fits obviously very well with smart factory, robotics, automation. So
Absolutely.
the link there, I mean, we didn't buy these, for any other reason apart from the fact that they all work together as co-located events.
Yeah, I've attended Drives and Controls multiple times in a previous life, and it's a fantastic event, fantastic show. So that'd be a great addition.
Obviously, we've just talked about all the exciting stuff that's been going on, but obviously now looking at the camera, I just want to thank our exhibitors and our sponsors. Obviously, without you guys, we couldn't make this event come together. So we wish you all the best for this week.
Thank you, ladies. Enjoy
Thank
Manufacturing
you.
and Engineering Week.
We will. See you there.
Let's
See you
smash
in
it.
Birmingham.
Now, we've been around plenty of manufacturing facilities and sites over the past 18 months or so. And from these visits, we've learnt that manufacturers are still reporting challenges and are putting a particularly sharp focus on 4 main areas. These are areas that, of course, are all linked. Firstly, sustainability. Businesses are finding ways to reduce energy consumption and transition to alternative fuels. Secondly, skills, so attracting and retaining talent. The integrity and resilience of supply chains has been a huge issue in the last few years. And lastly, digitalization, technology-driven progress inside and outside of the factory. The companies in this report have all encountered challenges, but the solutions they've found and the progress they've made makes them a showcase of the best examples of excellence in UK manufacturing. These examples are taken from our many site visits over the last year and a half. UK manufacturing, along with so many other sectors, has been hit hard in recent years. Economic uncertainty caused by Brexit and COVID-19 and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine has made staying competitive, productive and efficient that bit trickier for businesses. But this industry, by its nature, solves problems, engineers new opportunities and turns adversity into advantage. In the next half an hour, you'll see some of the UK's finest examples of manufacturing in 4 areas of operation. These 4 areas have been identified by us at the manufacturer as the main focus points of the last few years. An ever-growing world trend, rather than just a business trend, is our responsibility for this planet. The world's leading climate scientists warned us back in 2018 we only have 12 years for for global warming to be kept to a maximum of 1.5 degrees Celsius, beyond which even half a degree will have catastrophic climate impacts for millions of people. So, UK businesses were under the spotlight, and as public inspection intensified, manufacturing's historically bad emissions record made for uncomfortable reading. Here, we've picked out examples that make for altogether better reading. Companies that are thriving in sectors that haven't always impressed environmentally. Commercial transport, both in the UK and beyond, the cosmetics industry, and, you'll be glad to hear, the largest industrial manufacturing company in Europe.
Trucks worldwide emit more carbon than the whole aviation and maritime sectors together. Let's look at the trends in electric passenger cars, battery passenger cars. What's happening right now in the UK is amazing. About 1/3 of all new EV passenger cars sold is all electric. Unbelievable, very proud. We should all be proud. But let's understand why. The average passenger car drives 1 to 2 hours a day. The newest EVs have hundreds of miles of range. You have 22 hours opportunity to charge every day. The passenger car, the battery passenger car, is fit for purpose. That's why the growth is so large. Trucks are going to go out for at least 8 hours of work per day. It's a large variance of different things they're going to do in those 8 hours, different trucks for different opportunities. Trucks need to move and work, so they don't really want to depend on, in the middle of the day, maybe leaving their route, looking for a charger, hoping it's not blocked by some random petrol car, sitting around for half an hour for a top-up charge and going back en route. And you don't necessarily, no fleet manager wants to send out trucks that are not guaranteed to complete their day, whatever that day is. In the middle weight classes, often it's back to base or reach its final destination. Batteries alone don't always cover all those scenarios, and that's why we have a focus on dual energy trucks. But as far as trends in the marketplace, trucks is much more nascent than passenger cars.
Carbon doesn't come with a country code on it, right? Carbon is carbon wherever you make it. The thing that people have to think about with the transition to EVs, if we just take what we do now and we transition it to EV, you get an improvement. But actually, we have what we have now because of the constraints of our existing technology. So when you start rethinking the industry, and EVs is a real big one. You know, in Europe, if you switch to an EV, you'll have lower fuel bills, right? But when you buy a car in the UK, your predominant cost is depreciation. That's like, doesn't really matter how much you spend on repairs, and it doesn't really matter how much you spend on fuel. When you go to an operating, an as-a-service model, actually EVs are really well